My husband, the boss, smiled and said, "Congratulations, you're fired. Take your old laptop and go. This $8 million company is ours now, and Melissa will replace you. The divorce papers are ready." Security walked me out. I stayed calm. I knew the hidden code I'd planted would trigger in 10 minutes. What happened next would bring the empire crashing down. I stood in the parking garage, my old laptop bag heavy in my hand, the coffee stain on its corner a relic of better days. My phone buzzed, 10 minutes to go. Jacob, my husband, my betrayer, had just fired me from the company we built together, his voice dripping with smug finality. "Congratulations, Brenda, you're terminated. Take your old laptop and get out. This $8 million company is mine now, and Melissa will take your place. The divorce papers arrive tomorrow." Security escorted me out, their faces apologetic but firm. I smiled, a cold, sharp thing, because in 10 minutes my hidden code would activate and their world would collapse under the weight of their own treachery. Let me take you back, peel open the wound, and show you how we got here, how love and ambition twisted into something sharp enough to cut us all. 3 years ago, Jacob and I were a team, a perfect machine fueled by dreams and cheap coffee. We sat cross-legged in our cramped Seattle apartment, rain drumming the windows, sketching next core solutions on grocery receipts and napkins. My fingers danced across my laptop, weaving code that would predict security breaches before they happened. Jacob paced, his voice alive with ideas. "What if we could see attacks coming," he'd said, eyes bright. "Not just react, but prevent." I pushed my glasses up my nose and grinned. "Give me 3 months, and I'll build something no one's ever seen." He kissed me then, among the pizza boxes and chaos, whispering, "This is why I love you, Brenda. You make the impossible possible." Those days were electric, 18-hour marathons sustained by convenience store sandwiches and sheer will. I lived in the code, building our platform line by line, while Jacob charmed investors and clients, his charisma the perfect counterpoint to my precision. We married in the middle of it all, a Tuesday afternoon at the courthouse, my $200 online dress barely white in the fluorescent light. Jacob held my hands, his vows more than tradition. "Partners in everything," he whispered. 50-50, in business and life. Your dreams are my dreams." I believed him, heart open, unguarded. Within 18 months, NextCore grew from our apartment to a converted warehouse, its exposed pipes and concrete floors a badge of our scrappy success. We hired a team, signed $1 million contract, and the dream became real. Or so I thought. The cracks started small, like hairline fractures in glass. Jacob began interrupting me in meetings, explaining my technical updates in simpler terms, as if I couldn't articulate my own work. "What Brenda means is," he'd say, his smile patronizing. When I called him out, he laughed. "I'm just helping, honey. You get lost in the details." Client presentations became his stage, my demos reduced to silent props while he took credit. "Brenda's our technical genius," he'd tell them, working her magic behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, where he wanted me, out of sight, out of power. Then came Melissa Rodriguez. I was relieved at first, another woman in our boys' club of coders and salesmen. Her MBA, her Microsoft experience, her impeccable references, she was perfect. "She understands operations," I told Jacob after her interview, my voice warm with hope. He hired her the next day. She fit in seamlessly, organizing our chaos, bringing cookies, remembering birthdays. I thought I'd found a friend. But then the late nights began. "Client pitch prep," Jacob would say. "Revenue projections. Don't wait up." I'd drive home alone to our new suburban house, heat up leftover Chinese, and fall asleep on the couch, waking to his 3 a.m. arrivals, reeking of her perfume. "You're imagining things," he said when I confronted him. "You're paranoid." Was I? The doubt gnawed at me, a slow poison. Maybe I was just tired, overstressed, seeing shadows where there were none. The board meeting in September should have been my triumph. I just boosted our platform's speed by 300%, a feat that had clients raving, but Jacob presented it as a team effort, brushing off Richard Thompson's question about my role with a laugh. "Brenda's our CTO, but this was collaborative." I sat frozen, betrayal sinking into my bones. That night I lay beside him, his breathing steady, and realized our partnership was dead. He wasn't my husband anymore, just a stranger wearing his face. October brought the final blow. I'd picked up Thai food, pad Thai, extra spicy, Jacob's favorite, from the place with the red awning. It was 2:47 p.m., and I planned to surprise him in his office. His door was ajar, voices echoing from a conference room down the hall. Melissa's silver laptop sat open on his desk, her email displayed. The preview stopped my heart. Can't wait for this weekend. The cabin is perfect. From Jacob. I set the food down, the smell turning my stomach. My finger hovered, then scrolled. Once Brenda's out, we can restructure everything, another email read. 4 months of correspondence laid it bare. An affair, yes, but worse. A plan to steal my company. The board trusts me, Jacob wrote. Brenda's unstable, her work suffering. Melissa's reply. I've documented her aggression, her absences. We have enough. I snapped photos, 23 in all, my hands steady despite the rage clawing my chest. When Jacob walked in with 2 executives, I played the loving wife, leaving the food and excusing myself. In the parking garage, I vomited beside my car, the betrayal too heavy to hold. That night, as Jacob scrolled his phone, chuckling, I studied him in the blue light. Was he texting her, planning their cabin getaway? I began my counterstrike. I documented every contribution I'd made to NextCore, every line of code, every innovation, backing it up to encrypted cloud accounts he didn't know existed. I bought a voice recorder, cash, sunglasses on, like a cliché spy. It captured Jacob claiming my ideas as his, dismissing me to investors as technical support. The hardest part was pretending, kissing him goodbye, sleeping beside him, smiling while my heart screamed. At night, I coded, not destruction but protection. Invisible trackers proving my authorship, backdoors to secure my legacy. These weren't weapons yet, just insurance. I started seeing Dr. Patricia Reeves, a therapist in Tacoma, far from our tech bubble. Cash payments, a fake last name. Gaslighting, she said, handing me tissues. You're not paranoid, you have evidence. Her words anchored me, a lifeline in the storm. The company holiday party was torture, watching Jacob and Melissa maintain their careful distance, their eyes betraying them. I wore my best dress, smiled until my face ached, played the devoted wife while Jacob toasted me as the heart of our technical team, past tense, a subtle knife. In December, I overheard them on a conference call, thinking they were alone. After the new year, Jacob said, termination and divorce, same day, clean start. Melissa agreed. Rip the Band-Aid off. I muted my line, took notes, and worked until dawn. My insurance policy became a weapon. I wove vulnerabilities into NextCore systems, small, elegant gaps only I could find. Not to destroy, but to expose. If they wanted my company, they'd learn what it meant to lose me. January arrived cold and gray. The red flags I'd ignored burned bright now. August's board meeting when Jacob excluded me, claiming it was just financials. Richard Thompson's awkward coffee shop encounter, asking if I was recalibrating after Jacob painted me as unstable. The financial discrepancies, $47,000 to Global Tech Consulting, a ghost company, $31,500 to another shell tied to Melissa's cousin. They weren't just stealing my work, they were embezzling. I met Sandra Whitfield, a divorce attorney, in Bellevue. He's rewritten you as an employee, not a co-founder, she said, showing me altered documents. Fraud changes everything, but it's a costly fight. I wrote her a check from my secret account, built from small consulting gigs. Start building the case. The final night, Jacob cooked pasta carbonara, my favorite, and opened a bottle of wine we'd saved. Remember when we could barely afford ramen, he said, raising his glass. We've built something amazing. I clinked my glass, my smile a mask. He kissed me, and for a moment I let myself mourn what we'd had. At 3 a.m., I walked our house, touching photos of our wedding, our first office, our dreams. I set my code to activate 10 minutes after 9 a.m., then dressed in my charcoal gray suit, the one from our first investor pitch. Armor for the battle ahead. At 9 a.m., Jacob's assistant summoned me. The office felt like a stage, every glance heavy with judgment. In his office, Jacob sat behind our mahogany desk, Melissa at his side in a red dress, her hand possessive on his chair. Gary from HR clutched a folder, avoiding my eyes. You're terminated, Jacob said, sliding papers across the desk. Performance issues, hostile behavior. I stood tall. Complaints from whom? Melissa's voice was smooth, confidential but documented. I turned to her. How long have you been sleeping with my husband? The room froze. Jacob's flush betrayed him. You're paranoid, he spat. You see conspiracies. I smiled, my phone recording. You're embarrassing yourself. He slid my old laptop toward me. Keep it. Sentimental value. He thought it was a kindness, not the key to his ruin. Then, the final blow, I filed for divorce. Papers arrive tomorrow. I held steady, though my chest hollowed. How efficient. Security escorted me out, Tony and Marcus avoiding my gaze. I packed slowly, mug, photo, stress ball, leaving awards behind, relics of a lie. Outside, the January air was sharp, cleansing. At 9:10, my phone lit up, active. The code was live. Firewall rules shifted, ports opened, logs accelerated. Tiny adjustments, a symphony of chaos. I drove across the street, rain starting, and watched. The lobby stirred, then erupted. Developers ran, paper scattered. Jacob descended, his composure cracking. My phone tracked it. Database delays, SSL failures, probes from Moscow, Beijing, London. Hackers swarmed like sharks, drawn to the blood I'd spilled. A news van arrived, then police. Sarah, at her third-floor desk, met my eyes through the rain, her hand on the glass. I raised mine, then drove away, laughter bubbling up, raw and real. Calls flooded in, Richard Thompson, Paul Harrison, journalists. I let them go to voicemail, Jacob's voice desperate. The system's failing. We're losing everything. Your code, Brenda, it's the only thing that can fix this. I was calm. Your company, Jacob, you made that clear. Melissa tried. This is beneath you. I cut her off. You wanted me humiliated. Now you fail. By noon, clients fled. Stocks plummeted from $47 to $12. The FBI announced an investigation, sealing NextCore's fate. At home, I sipped tea, watching the news feast on their collapse. My code hadn't destroyed. It had exposed. Jacob's empire, built on my work, crumbled without me. 3 days later, GlobalSec offered me $5,000 a day to consult. More clients followed, desperate for the woman who'd saved Pacific Financial. I started SecureGuard Solutions, my office in Jacob's former study, his pretentious books gone. Tech blogs dubbed it the Brenda effect. NextCore stock hit zero, the FBI probing Jacob and Melissa's fake companies. She fled to Texas, her career ashes. Jacob, unemployable, moved to Ohio, defeated. 3 months later, he appeared at my door, broken, begging me to save NextCore with 48% ownership, full control. I laughed, but curiosity won. The office was a ghost town, 12 employees left. Sarah stood when I entered. Welcome back. In 72 hours, I closed the vulnerabilities, made the platform stronger. Pacific Financial returned, then others, drawn to my signature on every contract. At the board meeting, I laid out my vision. Transparency, strength from failure. Jacob tried to interrupt. I silenced him. I said exactly what I mean. The power shifted. I was no longer his shadow. Month 4, Jacob admitted he knew I'd orchestrated the attack. No proof, I said. He didn't argue. The platform hit $12 million, my 48% worth more than his dream. At our company celebration, I stood alone, the technical founder who'd saved us. Jacob's apology was quiet. I threw away the best thing in my life. I didn't forgive him. I didn't need to. Walking to my car, keys heavy with new authority, I deleted a reporter's text. The real story wasn't revenge. It was power reclaimed. My code, my platform, my victory. Never underestimate the woman who built your kingdom. She knows how to bring it down and build it back stronger.